working with a student on Segment, and Segment is actually a really cool song because it is an AABA form, and basically the A part is B flat minor, right? They're like just like some 2-5, and then sometimes there's a 1-5, and you can obsess about that here, right? I found a thread on Reddit where people were like, it's not C half diminished F7, it's G flat F7, and right. And should I play Aeolian or should I play harmonic minor? And I understand the confusion because it's confusing. Minor can be confusing, but because there's a flat 6 in harmonic minor and a flat 6 in Aeolian, the chords don't always necessarily dictate the scale. It's a little bit disconnected. So how I like to think about it is the A parts, AABA, the A parts are in B flat minor. Knock yourself out. But still, if it's, let's say, B flat minor, what can you do? Play over it, right? Because you can either go about it like, you know, playing very clear 2-5-1 lines all the time. So yes, you can. I guess you can play something like this, or you can play something like this, or you can play something like this. But it sort of keeps you locked in this thing that everything repeats after 2 bars, and I think there are different approaches to it that give you more freedom. Anyways, what we did in the lesson in the end is like had a look at the Omnibook and what Charlie Parker is playing here, and we stumbled across this line which seems to come directly from Donna Lee, which is really interesting. So listen to it. It's like so that's how it sounds if you play it like it's written down in the Omnibook. But if you listen to Charlie Parker, how he plays it, right, it sounds a little different because, of course, you know, like I always say, all the phrasing and the stuff can't be really put in the... Yeah, and then you hear also the emphasis of the note, right? Yeah. Yeah, so can you hear that? And then if you listen, you can hear where does he have sort of accents. So the C and the E, I would say. I have to play one more time. So cool. Please always be sure to check with the original recordings for the fine tuning. So now I'm going to record the chords that are written down in the Omnibook, right? So that's B flat minor, just B flat minor and F7. Yeah, and then we played this line because, you know, basically we were looking for a line on this B flat minor part that, you know, just like would give us some fresh ideas instead of always 2-5-1, 2-5-1. And then this line appealed to both of us immediately, but then later on we realized that it sort of comes straight out of Donna Lee. But in Donna Lee there is no longer stretch of B flat minor, but there is this part where there is B flat minor, E flat 7, A flat major 7. So that would be here. It's of course a little different here, but here do ba da da do 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 do. Okay, yes, but it's very similar, and then it goes to the C here, right? And the C is the major third on the A flat major, and that's so interesting because here it also goes to the C, but it doesn't go to the A flat major, right? Because it goes back to the B flat minor, and then that's the 9. So what I'm thinking, I have been thinking a lot of stuff. So first of all, when I see this thing here, right? If I see this, it could also be like this. I think E flat 7 starting a diminished arpeggio on the third. It could continue like this, right? So I'm thinking, oh, maybe it's more like B flat minor, E flat 7, going to A flat major, right? Because that would work as well here if I'm thinking like this. And then we have this flat 9, sharp 9, still thinking E flat 7, which is like such a cliche, right? To play a flat 9 and a sharp 9 or dominant 7. Right? Right, and so I thought maybe the whole line, so let's say the line up to the C could also work on a 2-5-1 in A flat major. So I think that works. Maybe the A is debatable, but right, so the start of the line is the same thing, but in this tune, of course, there are other chords. It's like B flat minor, F7, going to B flat minor. And the A on the B flat minor would be a major 7, which is really very cool. So we could also think about it, right? And that's beautiful. And so then I thought, right, he is just like using a 2-5 lick, so repurposing a 2-5-1 lick on a stretch of a flat minor stuff thing. No, because I did this other video where I realized that you can play 2-5-1 licks over a minor chord, right? And not resolving to the 1. And that just reminded me of that. But then I remembered that I watched this video with this one pianist who was talking a little bit about Barry Harris stuff and exchanging dominant 7s minor third apart, right? Like a, so in this case there would be F7, D7, right? And then, so now it's getting confusing, and then I understood that there are other changes, that this song might come from another tune that I forgot the name of, and then they're playing, it all makes sense in a minute, then they're playing B flat minor 6, and then they're playing G flat 7, which is in my mind just another version of a 2-5 in minor, just with a G flat. Right, and then you can, and now it comes, sort of think that we could also analyze this whole line over B flat minor, G flat 7, F7, G flat minor, and B flat minor, and that's not written down in the Omnibook, right? And that would also make sense. I realized that that would also make sense, and then I just thought the G flat and the E flat are a minor third apart, and then I thought maybe that's because of it. And I find stuff like this so interesting because it just like gives us the possibility to use stuff, the same stuff in different ways. And then I also realized that with the G flat 7 still after so many years, I wouldn't realize immediately with one glance at the page that that would also be possible just because of this key change. So if we think about it as playing this thing here, on the G flat 7, so let's try to analyze it because I think that makes complete sense. So we have the G flat, which would be in this case like a 13 sharp 11 going to F7, altered, right? So when I play this on the G flat, I play it here, and then this would be like a flat 9, major third, 5 and a 13. Isn't, I don't know what it is, the heating all of a sudden is vibrating with my guitar. so this is very normal, but I'm just like you, always thinking, always thinking here, I would always associate that with the start on the 3 of the E flat, but basically, and then of course again that's all half tone, whole tone as well, and then everything else of course makes also sense, because then we know that we can shift a dominant 7th chord, just like, you know, understanding while explaining. So flat 9, 3rd, and then on the G flat 7 that would be flat 7 root, flat 7 3rd, 5. I never thought about this line like this. So if I have the G flat 7 like this, right, so we can analyze it like this, and then if you continue, right, there would also be like, there would be really like G flat mixolydian, right? Leading to the F7, right, and that would be just like on the F7, the major 3rd, right? Yeah. So I find that really fascinating, and I really wondered how I could never have been thinking about something like this. By one leg in A flat major. Right, and could play it a minor 3rd higher. Or minor 3rd lower. Sorry. Last thing, just F7. Two bars F7, 2 bars B flat minor. Basically what I want to show you is that you can think about this thing as a long stretch of B flat minor, but then sort of think about different chord changes, and those different chord changes can give you a lot of different idea how to navigate that stuff. Because I'm just saying this because I have, you know, Softly as a Morning Sunrise, very similar situation. We are in C minor, we're having these 1-6-2-5s. We can drive ourselves completely crazy, outlining 1-6-2-5s on the A half diminished, the A and the E flat, and we go on like this to make it all perfectly clear, and also to be sure we're playing it the right way. Hint, check out the solos from the great players. Nobody playing is playing stuff like that. Maybe someone is playing something like this at a time, but basically people treat it as a playground for all the minor stuff that you possibly can play over it, and there's a lot of stuff that you can play over it. So as usual, I think it's a really good idea to have 1 or 2 tricks up your sleeves if you're not inspired this day, to just like think, oh, I'm going to try out this or that concept. And that's it for today. See you tomorrow? Probably not. Bye.